Welcome, everyone. A very warm good afternoon to all of you. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Pci Dss Shaw, and I am the Global Head of Marketing at OmniClouds. OmniClouds is a leading provider of ICT as a service. Today, we are presenting a webinar on OmniCloud's advantage for retail solutions, presented by Amar Al-Jarrah, who is our Regional Sales VP for GCC. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question in your chat box to your right. I will bring them up at the end of the presentation, and we will also have time for questions at the end. Now, without further ado, we will turn the time over to Amar.
Thank you, Pci Dss, for the introduction. Good evening and welcome to our second webinar of series. We are glad to be hosting, and we would like to be excited to see you on the following webinars. In the next slide, you will see the retail technical requirement. As we are trying to keep this presentation often live, we will keep identifying the main technical requirements of the retail business today. So we will start on ready to all at all times. So all of the retail systems and IT transactions need to be up and running all the time. The second point is fast, efficient onboarding of any new retail location. Third one is install online browsing and non-tested transaction. The fourth one is increase performance and visibility. And we will go for the next slide, which is talking about best possible user experience. We need to maintain this on retail technical requirements and data protection and best secure, controllable remote connection, given the fact that the COVID and pandemic caused distraction on the work, and most of the users are working from home. They need to have a remote user connectivity, reliable and secure. In the next slide, we will mainly focus on the retail main IT challenges on the retail business industry. Now that we have identified the main basic 7 requirements on any retail business industry, let us see what are the challenges that the retail business industry is facing. The main speed bump that the retailers are hitting around the branches is the expansion. So the main challenges is starting with timely branch provisioning, centralized network management and control, security isolation inside the branches, application preparation, application performance, as I mentioned, and then we have the network visibility in detail as much as we can, and we will give the solution or the solution for each challenge that is provided from OmniClouds. Which is not visible or practical for any of the retail business orders. So our potential solution for that, we can start importing this branch, making it up and running by having 4G or LTE solution. 4G or LTE solution. Waiting for the permanent service to come while we may figure out that the 4G and LTE connection is sufficient for this branch. So this allows a fast retail branch opening without any months of waiting. And the second slide, the second challenge is lack of centralized network management. Being a multiple branch network is hard to manage. Managing 2 to 3 locations is being an hectic task. So if you can assume having 200, 300 retailers up and running on the same time and need to be managed 24/7, network administrators need to make sure to keep the configuration consistent across different network devices, provided from different vendors, which require a different kind of specialization and team knowledge. Each has its own control layer. This can be solved by having a central point of management and control, pushing the configuration policy to all data plan devices on all branches. The IT admin will only interact with one component, and they don't need to have expertise in each single vendor technology. As we at OmniCloud, we always going hand by hand with our partners, because we don't have a clients, we have our partners, and we are assuming all of our clients are our partner, and we working them hand by hand until the last day, and until we feel 100% sure they are capable of running to run the service by themselves. The second slide, we will talk about the third challenge, which is security isolation inside the branches. As on the previous case, we make that the security policies are consistent at all the branches and IT systems. The traditional network or IT infrastructure perimeter security firewalls are deployed in each branch among all the branches. They have their administration consoles, and they have to be configured physically and manually. But once the control plane and management has been centralized, as we saw on the previous slide, then it is possible to define a global security policy template and push them to any branch device at any branch dynamically with a timely manner whenever it's needed with a temporary click. On the fourth challenge is ensure application performance. If the bandwidth is limited, we need to make sure that we have ways to set a priority set or set a priority on a certain application over other application based on a priority and business. For instance, VoIP and VoIP traffic and voice traffic or voice over LTE, voice over IP traffic has strict latency and jitter requirements, while internet browsing can be based on best efforts. In traditional network infrastructure, all network devices that handle traffic needs to be a quality of service aware and configured manually. So an alternative solution to that, to an automatic application discovery mechanism to detect different type of traffic and even assign SLA to these traffic based on the analytics that we have from the collected, automatically collected data and traffic. The fifth challenge is provide network visibility. As much as network grows, as much as it becomes difficult to have visibility and control and management. Different branches have different bandwidth utilization bottlenecks. Can happen anytime, anywhere. To eliminate and control this, we need to centralize. We need a central collection point to all of the events, and we can correlate it data onto our analytics, and then based on it, we will take the best optimum action and technical solution and technical implementation to assure that this network is fully visible and the data is being utilized on the way that we or the client need it and requested. And the second slide, which is challenge number 6, continuous connectivity. As we mentioned that all of the IT transactions need to be 24/7 up and running without any loss. There are two aspects for the branch connectivity to be considered. The branch needs to stay up continuously, and this needs to have a proper failover mechanism in case of a link loss. Have redundant. One connection is wasteful since the backup connection is off and unused, which making knowledge making no sense paying for a second connection with no auto failover, with a manual interaction in case of the main connection has lost. So it would be logical to have a way of distributing applications among different uplinks. Therefore, taking advantage of multiple uplinks connection by having an auto failover on each single edge device that OmniCloud is providing, and it's an auto failover. Last but not least, we need to find ways to prevent breaches and have secure credit card data. And this can be achieved by a Pci Dss Compliance Solution, as we have at OmniClouds. Pci Dss stands for Payments Card Industry Data Security Standard. And this is an information security standard for organizations that handle credit card payments heavily and defined roles, protocols for handling large volume of transactions while keeping a payment data secure. Now we understand the challenges and we have a touch point on the few solution and how it can be prevented. Let us go and understand the typical IT network infrastructure with a small quick comparison on the network, the traditional network design compared to the SD-WAN OmniCloud design. So simply, this is the traditional network design. As you see on this slide, the first layer is the infrastructure server layer, which has a voice application, inventory, infrastructure as a service. All of these need to be aggregated on an aggregation layer, on aggregation access layer, which take us to the second layer. After this, all of these aggregating applications need to go and have been provided by a very speed core switch layer, and most of the time it's on layer 3. And then out of this, you need to be connected to firewall. You need to be linked to a physical firewall, has been configured via the console, physically and manually, to do the web filtering, the email filtering, the firewall, the IPS, all of these kind of content filtering. And out of this will go, after this will go or give access to the e-commerce, distribution centers, offices, and stores. And all of these, to be controlled, managed, they need to have an MPLS, which is non-readable, non-logical to have it in each single branch, and assuming that you have a 200 branch or 100 branch, which is a very huge operational cost. So to have this for the mesh topology, most of the people or most of the IT administrators are activating the VPN, which is a non-reliable secure connectivity because it depends on the end client or end user connectivity and does not have that security features. After all of this, it needs to be linked to the partner edge and then to the WAN edge. And the second slide, I will show for you how OmniCloud solution is giving an example of a live case of 260 branch. How it looked like. This is how it looked like. This is how we connected our clients on OmniClouds. Branch 1 up to branch 259, which is 260 branch. If you can notice, all of the clients is regardless what the underlay connectivity, either TIA, MPLS, ADSL, 4G, Wi-Fi, doesn't make any difference. All of them has been connected to OmniCloud Director and Orchestrator via mesh network topology, and they have a mesh network feature, all controlling, centralizing all of the branches on one central location based on the client requirements. All of these, having all these locations, does not need to go back to the HQ to reach to the SASE application, which will bump and require a huge bandwidth on the HQ. No, each single branch can have a local breakout feature accessing the SASE services with a secure manner with a built-in UTM in each single device. All of these can connected to the internet with a mesh topology. All of these can be connected. These branches can talk to each other, can talk to HQ based on the client requirements. Hop on a spoke on a hub. It is up to the technical team, and it's all of it and a single right of click manner. Does not need to that much physical interaction anymore. And in addition to that, the SASE feature, which is securing all the remote users via a complete secure SD-WAN OmniCloud channel, which is under OmniCloud, OmniRemote project, to connect all of the users from anywhere, anyhow. They will be working as they are in the office. And even you can push a traffic or you can push a bandwidth from the HQ to any of the users if it is needed and you have that message. Thank you, and we are ready and happy to hear your question, and we are ready to answer it.
Thank you very much, Amar. And now it is time to make some time for questions. And basically, just a quick reminder again, please be sure to type your questions into the chat box to the right. If we cannot answer all your questions today, we request you to email us and we will revert to you within the next 24 hours. It looks like we have some questions already. So I am just going to read out the questions. First question is by Ibrahim Mohammed. So Amar, Ibrahim has to ask you, what is the native reporting solution? So is it not analytics-based solution?
It is
Hello? Sorry, I'm just gonna, I think we had a connection with Amar there. In the meanwhile, I will read the other questions as well that we have. We will be reverting back to these questions. The second question that we have here is, does your SD-WAN CPE require internet to function? Do you have an on-premise solution? That is the other question that we have. In the meanwhile, I will request you to continue sending your questions. So we have Amar who is replying back to these. Yes, Amar, I have you here. Sorry, bear with us.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear me, Shad?
Yes, of course. Thank you, Amar. We can hear you now. Sorry for this technical glitch that we had. So I'll go back to the questions again. The first question that was with Ibrahim, and he is saying, what is the native reporting solution? So is it not analytics-based solution?
We have both. Just to start with, we have both kind of reporting mechanism. We have the native and the non-analytic based solution, but most likely we have an API solution and customized report based on the client requirements. And you can, am I muted?
No, we can hear you clearly. Please continue.
Okay. For Mr. Ibrahim Mahmoud, can I know more about your OC box? We have we are a native provider, so we are having multiple kind of boxes, and all of these again it depends on the client requirement. So we are not focusing on one type of vendor. We are going always based on the client optimum requirement, and based on the client requirement, we are providing our boxes. So we have a very wide range of boxes, and we can implement and recommend based on the client requirement. Thank you.
Amar, we have another question. Thank you very much for answering. We have another question by Renosh Thomas. Thomas has to ask us two questions. He says, does your SD-WAN CPE require internet to function?
Yes, to answer this, we need to have an internet, minimum internet traffic, just for the signaling purpose. And yes, we need the internet to have the device up and running.
And the second question that he has to say is, do you have an on-site premise solution?
Yes, we do have the two type of solution. We have the on-site and we have the solution that we presented just right now, which is making more logical to the client because it is more cost efficient.
Thank you very much. We have another question, which is by Ibrahim, and he says, can I know more about your OC box?
About the OC box, again, we have a very big wide of OmniCloud boxes. We are a vendor neutral, so we are providing the boxes based on the client requirement and based on the client network setup. So based on that and capacity, based on that, we are deciding on the devices, but we have no limitation on that. We are open and onto that.
Thank you. And we have another question by Mohammed Samuel Rizwan, and he has to ask, what is the advantage if client going with OmniCloud compared to other cloud providers?
Fair question. While we here discuss the SD-WAN cloud services, we didn't touch base on the cloud migration, cloud, and other cloud services that we are providing. Meanwhile, the main advantages that we are, again, a cloud service neutral provider. We have a professional team with full certified of Azure and Amazon and Google as well. So we are vendor agnostic, and we can provide a complete solution to the client, providing them a complete assessment from A to Z, complete comparison between all the cloud provider, and we keep the floor up to him based on, and we put our recommendation. We keep the floor up to him to decide on to which one he should go. So we are not pushing the client to go of any of each vendor provider, or we are selecting the vendor and we are pushing the client to go of any of these. Thank you.
Thank you, Amar. And we have another question, which is by Ibrahim Mahood, and he is asking, can you list your vendors? Is it signaling or control and management? And also he's asking you list of vendors.
And I didn't get the question, the second question, third question clear. But the first question, yes, I can go with. We have Versa, we have OmniCloud, we have Nokia Watch, and we have Dell, all of our part of our solution. But for the second and third, could you list your vendor? Yes, it's done. Is it signaling? I didn't get it. Or control management, I don't get it. But all of the boxes that we have, and we have a very wide range, is open data flow boxes and can support any vendor based on the management and control, because all of these can be having, it's a software defined, which is the Pretty on it. So since you have the open data flow device, you can put your control and management on any of these devices, and it's a matter of signaling. But again, I hope I answered the question as per I understand. But if in case I didn't answer it correctly, or as per the question was asked, he can reach us anytime and I will answer him one-to-one.
Sure, thank you. Moving on, we have another question by H. Khan, and he wants to know, how is the network security improved with OmniCloud's retail solution?
Fair question and very positive and good question. Let us assume that you have multiple branches. I'm not going to say 100, I'm not going to say thousands. It's just a 10 branches. And these branches need to be connected to the HQ. And you need to have a firewall to be placed on each location. And each location will cost you on a CapEx model for each firewall. And in addition to that, still for internet you cannot control, because it is all, there is no local breakout, all not secured, and all of them can access internet via their own user and mobile. So OmniClouds has preventing all of this, giving the full security built in each device with next generation firewall built in, with a built-in UTM in each single device that we are providing to the clients, with all security features. And we have more than let us say X number of security feature. And our vendor provider is one of the best security feature, has been ranked as per Gartner report. Simply, this is how we or what we are providing as OmniCloud and how we are improving the security as OmniCloud.
Thank you, Amar. We have another question by Rinosh, and he wants to know, does the data traffic between site to site, say we have locations in different countries, have to go to the central cloud head end? This is asked because of data protection security within the country laws.
Okay, this is a great question. And the answer for that, one of the advantages that OmniCloud have, we have our orchestrator in every single that we are operating in. So none of the data gonna be breached, none of the data gonna be taken out or have to go out of the country. So we are fully compliant with the regulation in each country that we are operating in. We are fully compliant with each country that even our partner is operating in, based on their TRA and regulation, telecom regulation on this country. So no, answering this question, the data does not have to go to the cloud HQ, and we have an orchestrator in every single country that we are operating in, sir. The second question, I think, how are you channel partner in Oman, Kuwait, and KSA? There is a partner program that we have, and you can reach us separately on this, and we are more than welcome to have partners on Oman, Kuwait, and KSA anytime, sir.
Okay,
but we have
thank you.
We have two type of programs. We have the MSP and we have the VAP, value added partners. And again, as I mentioned, you can reach our marketing OmniCloud's email, or you can reach us anytime, and we can facilitate that, and we will look excited and forward to have more partners on KSA and Kuwait and Oman as well.
Thank you very much, Amar. Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate you being here. The recording of the session will also be available on YouTube, and we will be sharing the link with all our participants shortly via email. So feel free to share and watch the webinar again at your own convenient time. We thank you again for joining us, and we will see you with an all-exciting webinar again next month. Thank you very much, Amar, for the wonderful insight on retail solutions again. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. And if you have any further questions, please email them on marketing@omniclouds.com.
Thank you.
Thank you.